Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Dundee Show podcast. This is a special one because El Capitan is in the house. We're going to get the story of Super Mario. We're going to hear about his life and his career, and I'm just going to say it's a proper honour to have the captain of everybody's boyhood club in this room. So yeah, thank you, Simon Murray. So I'll say a round of applause for coming in, and yeah. How's it going, mate?
No, brilliant, mate. Thanks for having us. No, it's great. Obviously, the strips are up.
Well, I thought you were. Thought the names would be appropriate for having a striker in. You know, Dundee striker.
I mean, there's a couple of good names up there, and in good company, as you said before. So, no, it's great to be here, and looking forward to the chat. And
awesome, mate. Thanks for coming. It's, like I said, it's an honour. Like. It's everybody's boyhood club in this room, even Declan's, who's hiding. But yeah, let's just take it back to the start, mate. What year were you born?
1992, so 15th of March 1992, so fucking getting on a bit. 34 now, but yeah, just born and raised in Dundee.
What area of the town were you born in?
I was from Downfield, the posh end of Kirton, so I was. But yeah, just born up. I was actually... I was born in Dundee, but my first house was over in Wormit actually, and that was just over the bridge.
You're the 5
I like over there. I see it's like you can see the shite, but you're far enough away from it. You know what I mean? You kind of miss it too much.
No, it was beautiful to be fair, but I was only there, and we moved up to Dunfield again before I knew any better. So I was there my whole life. I grew up just off of Hairstein Road. Went to Baldragon.
It's a colourful school.
Great school. A lot of learning went on. Not so much in the classroom, but no, it was good. Yeah, had a good childhood there, and yeah, adventurous it was.
So when did you start football? Like, what age did you start?
When we were young, you know what I mean. The first thing you done was
kick a ball.
School was done. You're out playing with your mates, and my dad played football as well, so we actually had a small little AstroTurf pitch built in to the back garden. It was big enough for maybe 3 aside with your mates. It was like a wee arena almost. He built it himself. It was class. But yeah, playing football pretty much through my old man. He played for Hibs, and Montrose was. He played for most of the clubs in the local area, yeah, my 3-4 best mates that lived in the area we just all used to play. As soon as school finished, home changed, your favourite football shirt on, and you were there until you got told to get up the road for your tea.
What was your favourite football shirt?
Obviously Dundee, you know. You obviously got the strips every year and whatever else, but growing up I was maybe not as that young, but I was an Arsenal fan. Henry was my football and idol.
And Arsenal were just going through the good patch at that point as well.
It was the teams that they had. Obviously Perez, Lundberg, you know, Dennis Bergkamp. Like the teams were the first era of, you know, the sort of tiki-taka football.
Yeah.
Did you have those kits? Any of those kits?
Some classic kits, yeah. The GVCs,
the O2 one.
Oh, yeah, well,
that's your sponsor.
Yeah.
That's a proper Henry kit.
That's his one. And it was just actually the football in memory was when Monday Night Football it would be on when it was who was it? Jeff Sterling and Andy Gray. Yeah. And I just remember that was like me and my old man would just sit on the couch and you'd watch, you know, like the Man U versus Arsenal's back in the day. Roy Keane going up against Vieira, and for me football has never got to that excitement in English football. Like
we speak about it a lot. How boring English football is.
It's
downhill sort of thing.
The thing is with the level in football, and especially in the Premier League, the level is that good, the players are that good, the ball moves so quick that if you go out all attack against these teams like what you've seen against PSG, Bayern Munich, there's just too many goals, so you just find yourself 3-4-0 down before the game's even kicked off. You know, so it's a very tactical game now, whereas it was probably more of a game of freedom and expression and more aggressive on the front foot back when we watched
magic moments,
you know. But and look, you still will get the moments, but it won't be as regular as what it was.
How do you think you would have got on in the days?
That would have suited me, like, I probably would say the way that I play, or because I came through junior ranks and I was I never had the coaching that guys at kids at 6, 7 now, they're in Dundee United's academy, and the level of coaching they're getting is phenomenal, you know. Whereas it was more about the sort of hard work, the mindset, the sort of the way that we tackles, like no fear, all that, and that's probably why I play it the way that I do it now. But yeah, it would have been good to definitely play back in the days. For the nights out as well, I think it was. But I do miss obviously the days. That's why I prefer Scottish football. Like, I know I play in it, but I love watching this Friday night Scottish Championship.
Oh yeah,
games because
there's really good games in that.
As much as there is talent, there's also exciting games because they play. There's no VAR.
Yeah,
it's more exciting. There's loads of goals. It's just similar to what it used to be in terms.
Championship's the best away days. In the whole country, I think, man, I love the away days in the Championship. Morton especially, for some reason.
That's what I'm saying. When Rangers went to the second division and did their journey back up, it must have been one of the best things ever for their fans.
They remember when they first went down, their attendances were like in the Division 3, they were like the highest in the league or something.
When they played Brecon in the first match, it was just unbelievable.
It's crazy to think actually that actually happened to them, you know, like historically as a club.
Yeah.
They're one of the biggest clubs in the world, like in terms of fan base and what comes with it.
The thing is though, we've discussed it over the week, there's always Italy especially, you got your Fiorentinas and that, they all got binned down to the 4th division and out of the league and everything, and then fight their way back. It does happen all over. Yeah. It's always financial problems, but it always does. Something happens. I mean, Dundee's not been immune to it, you know.
It shows you how lucky Dundee was with the Rangers situation especially. You know, because I think it was a year later when the Rangers went down.
And obviously the season where, you know, we came back with obviously the point deduction. You know, that's what Dundee could have been faced with. You know, relegation.
Certainly would have been into the division below. It certainly looked like that's what they were planning, you know.
The money difference, especially now, between being in even the Championship to League One and being in the SPL, that would kill your football club. So, I'm glad we've never seen. We might not be sitting here talking about Dundee.
But at the end of the day, I mean, you go on about it as your favourite season ever. I mean, obviously I've seen a lot. I'm older, so I've seen a lot more, but it is certainly one of my favourite times. For it's a strange situation. You're in administration; it's one of your favourite times. But it's everybody bonded together.
Were you in the stands of that season? Were you playing in 2011?
Dingwall. I remember going on a away trip. I actually got chucked off the bus. It was.
Was it that the sunny game at the end? Game. Oh, everybody was absolutely steamboat.
That was a mental day actually. I can't remember what bus it was. It was my mate James. And his dad Jim were on the way up to Dingwall, and it was
a mad day.
It was a mad day.
It's a long bus journey.
It was, and the heat wasn't good for a ginger, I'll tell you. But it was. See, the thing is, it's like you talk about obviously the journey that Dundee was on there, and like the games that you go to. You're a Dundee fan, you're a Dundee supporter. The football is obviously important and being successful in the team, but when you're with your mates and you're on the day and your team's winning, the feeling's still there, regardless of it's against.
Don't get me wrong, we want the results, but you're right. It's certainly it's about the boys. It's always the same boys that's on the bus. It's always the same boys that are sitting around you. It's the journey that you're all on.
Yeah.
And you being a Dundee fan, you've travelled. You've got that insight as well. Big time, especially as you're saying, you should have been. You're on the bloater with everybody else at that point, you know.
Look, obviously, there was good memories, and there was only. I must have been 16. I can't even remember at that. 17.
So maybe. You weren't on the bloater then?
Well, yeah, no. But obviously, as a Dundee fan, we all know we've not had much success. So it would be good to be celebrating.
Wait, you would be 9 in the cup final, would you? 9 years old. Did you go?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, Heartbreak. And was
it was one of the worst days ever, man. It was horrible. But yeah, that's what I mean. That was what 20.
I would say.
Years ago now.
I would say to them. I would say the Celtic game, because I was at Parkhead, the cup game there. I would say that was my biggest disappointment since that cup final. When that goal went in, I just that was honest. That just was the biggest gutting, and it must have been. You must have felt that.
Do you know what? It's football. You're never surprised with anything that happens, but I genuinely thought if we got through that that tie, we was going to get to Hampden, and we actually spoke about it all week. We were going there confident of winning and putting on a performance because we'd already beat them earlier on in the season, and
you smashed them. That was some game.
Had two chances after,
them.
two great chances after that to make it 2-3-0, and one of them had went in. The game's over. The fans were right on them.
There wasn't a one fan that wasn't proud of the team that day.
Yeah.
And I had the bad word said about it. And I remember I put something on social media about Celtic, and that backlash we got from half of Glasgow was unbelievable. That was, but yeah.
You'd be getting backlash from more people that was actually at the game because the stands were. It was really sporadic. Crowd in their end that day.
Yeah.
Hamilton, when he scores the goal and he runs up to his his uncle's cheering in the stands when he was a Celtic fan. It was just, the whole thing was brilliant.
It was, obviously, as a striker in that game, against Celtic, you need to do a lot of hard work off the ball. And it was, I remember it was just a breakaway, and I'm right behind when he's struck the shot, and you're like, no danger, is that going in? And the feeling that you get when that hits the back of the net is unbelievable. You almost can't believe it.
But he had been, see, for about 6 weeks before, he'd been cracking shots and
he hits about 30 shots a game. He's bound to score one.
Yeah. Even the boys on the Up With The Bonnets podcast, they went on about it for weeks. When he scores it, it's going to be an absolute raker. And as soon as he hit it, you knew it was in. It was incredible.
What's it like going and playing there? Because see, Ibrox especially, I hate going as a fan.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Did you feel?
I can imagine being on the pitch and playing it.
Yeah, but you would have felt that. You would have felt that day. They weren't. The fans weren't happy with them at that point.
I think even at the start of the season, they threw the tennis balls on, didn't they?
That killed them that day.
Well, I think that was Brendan Rodgers' last game.
Yeah.
I think he got, or he left, or he got sacked after that. But even at that time, you felt a vulnerability, and that's what on the lead up to, I suppose, all the games that we've had against Celtic this year. We felt confident because we knew it's not the Celtic of Ange Postecoglou a couple of years ago, Brendan Rodgers' first Celtic team. You knew there was especially defensively. Look, they've got Maeda's, they've still got their.
But you're going toe to toe with them. You're seeing it in their. You must be seeing it in their face. So you must think at times they're no in this a day or whatever.
I think when even any team that I've been at, if your fans are. You're in a good place as a team and your fans are right behind you, gives you that extra 10%. But on the flip side of that, when there's a nervousness around the stadium and they're on your back and it goes back to the goalie or Schmeichel at that time wasn't in great form, you just felt it, you know what I mean? And unfortunately we couldn't hold out for
10
seconds. It's mental.
What was it again? The 97th minute.
Yeah. There was meant to be 5 minutes added time. We got told 4 and then they added one on because I think Tierney went down with a. So it was going to be 5, and then they somehow was 7. But that's the story for another day, is it? You know what I mean? It's like
that's 3 times they've done that to us. It's been the times went up, and they've scored 2 minutes or a minute over the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And you're just. Yeah, I think we'd be used to it.
You're expecting it to happen,
Yeah, we've got a wee bit of sidetrack. Let's take it back to the school. Or you know what? When did you start becoming a Dundee fan, mate? When did that kick off for you?
Yeah, it was.
Was your dad a D?
No, to be honest, my dad wasn't a massive Dundee fan, but he liked, as like me, football was his thing. So he was so dedicated to becoming a football player that the sort of dedication to a single team was kind of sidetracked. You know what I mean? His focus was just I want to be a footballer. And my granddad actually had the saw doctors across the road there.
The javelin.
So the javelin that was my granddad's, and my dad worked for my granddad at that time, and he would just let him go run in the streets to get his fitness up, and then so all in his mind from a young boy was to become a footballer. So yeah, it was mostly I would say my mum's side, but also my dad's sister is a massive D, and she got us my first season ticket in the Bobby Cox. So yeah, it was basically her that I would go along with my uncle Jackie along to the games, and then on it would be mates. You know, so yeah.
Do you remember the first team you went to go and see? Who was playing?
I mean, properly will be the Caballeros, and
that was the team.
So you're thinking if this is what you're going in at, it's downhill for here, is it? But I think for me anyway, Nemzadzi and Caballero was probably everyone's go-to players.
I loved Artero. Artero was like, I thought he was madly underrated there. He just had like these moments of magic all the time.
Boys like Marcello Morocco and stuff. What it was like, you had like the best ever in
Sarah
positions.
as well. Sarah has like those moments.
As a striker as well, you know, obviously we loved Jesus Loves You.
Yeah, like, no one will ever forget that. Yeah. What was the commentator? He said he's I can't even do it justice. Scoring goals and converting souls. That was
I was actually I wore a Jesus Loves You top under my strip when I played for Tayport, and I used to lift it up, and it used to be "If Jesus Loves You." Boys slaughtered us for that as well. But yeah, like it was a great team, obviously to go and watch, and yeah, got us to the cup final, but couldn't get over the line. But yeah, it was. Do
you remember when Kinigi started? Or do you remember when he came?
I mean, obviously, probably not as well as what you guys do, but yeah.
I was only 4 years older than you, but I remember at the time the big, like, I didn't know who he was because I was still quite young, but I remember everybody making a massive fuss about it.
Well, I'd been in the World Cup in '90, so we're not talking a great deal of time after that. You're only talking 9 years after, and there's but obviously everybody knows the story. He goes to Atlanta and gets in with Maradona and he gets a bit of cocaine problems and that. But he's not. The World Cup in '90 is when he kind of bursts on the scene to everybody, and he plays against.
He scores a couple of vital goals, does he?
Yeah, and the kick him down the line. Like, so everybody remembers that. And he scores the equaliser in the semi-final. He scores the winner against Brazil. Yeah, all to do with Maradona, and that's when he properly arrived. Then he goes to Italy, and then he has 2 or 3 good seasons, and then he disappears because he's obviously got problems going on, and then nothing. And then as soon as the word comes out, he's going to sign. I mean, we were like, what? Really?
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about guys playing for Benfica. He's won the Copa Libertadores with River Plate. He's played for Roma. He's coming through, and then they're near about to sign him. And I just remember everybody was losing their minds, because he was coming, you know. And he didn't fail.
Yeah.
I mean, he came across and was like unbelievable. Just
Aberdeen was his first game, was it?
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Remember he took his top off. He was like the fittest man
yeah.
ever. He's unbelievable, and he smoked. He still smoked at that point because I've said before. My old man used to. My mother worked in the laundry in Broughty Ferry. My dad used to pick my mother up, and Kinigi would be in Vizoki's and would come out and smoke a fag with the old man.
Well, that's where they all used to have their pre-match meal the night before the games was Vizoki's. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Obviously I got to tell
his car used to be outside where Clark's is nowadays. He was picking up stuff every couple of nights. His car always used to be across the road. One of the stories that you hear anyway. I forgot where we were. Right, so that was the first team you've seen. What was the first boys club you played for?
My first boys club actually was in Dundee United Social Club. My dad,
very popular one about the shit. Yeah.
My dad he ran the team with another mate of mine, Mark, Charlie Stott. So it was him and my dad that ran it, and I was 7. I was under 9s. I was the youngest in the team, but we had a very good team, to be fair. And just loved it. Just everything was about football, just scoring goals. Like, it was just class, you know. They say it is the best day of your life when you're free, is it? Playing as a kid, nothing, no fear, just going about playing football with your mates, and loads of good memories. Playing, yeah.
Like the nostalgic feeling and all the memories, yeah. What about when you're going through school and stuff? Like, you never get scouted at all from anybody?
No, do you know what? I was at Dundee United Academy, but never full time. Sort of, we trained twice a week. And as I said, the academies now, it's not like what it was, you know, back then.
Yeah, what it's set up now, yeah.
And actually, when you were one of the better players or ones that they fancied to kick on, you actually, when you were at Dundee United, you had to travel to Glasgow because the core group of players were Glaswegian. So you played for Dundee United, you had to travel to Glasgow, which made no sense.
Which is, we've discussed that as well about youth players, and a lot of they don't get any help from the teams when they're that young. Yeah. And the parents, all the onus is on the parents. So that's how a lot, as you've just said, a lot will drop out because the parents either can't do it or the commitment, they can't do it.
John Riley said that. He said like they're wasting their time spending so much time travelling when they could be here playing, like kicking a ball. You know what I mean?
You see it now that Celtic and Rangers and different clubs around Scotland they're picking players from Dundee, and these kids are 9, 10, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever. They're travelling 3 hours every second night. You know, like an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back. They're losing their childhood, but also losing out on football here, because the academies that Dundee and Dundee United have now are just as good as these academies for Celtic and Rangers, because the coaching is, if not the same, could be better, because they know they need to provide a better coaching than what these clubs have, because they've got the fancy stadium. They'll lure kids in with, getting their picture taken with, in the boardrooms and this, that, and the next thing. And
as you know, the chances and you've got a far better chance being with any other than Celtic or Rangers, because the chances of coming through that youth academy and going into their first team is very slim compared with all Dundees and Dundee Uniteds and Arbroaths and that. They need players to come through, as we've seen at Dundee, the players that's coming through.
Even if you look in like the last 2 seasons, we've obviously got Finlay, Luke Graham, Josh Mulligan, Lyle Cameron. If you're not making the grade at Celtic, or you are a good striker or a midfielder or whatever, if they need a £10 million player, they'll just go and buy one.
Yep.
Whereas Dundee teams like us, we don't have that money, and you rely on, players like the guys that I've talked about. So if it was me and it was my son, you'd also want him to not get fed up. He's missing out on his actual outside pals. That he's
missing out on his life travelling.
Yeah, he's missing out on his life. And when does it get to the point where he thinks, I've had enough of this? Like I'm scunnered.
Well, that's what happens. So they all end up jacking it, because either they're discovered drinking girls or it's too much travelling.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work.
And I see what the coaches at Dundee put into the youth academy, and it's phenomenal.
You see, there's a massive change, like you've said a few times now. There has been a massive change, because you're starting to notice a lot of the younger lads now getting a lot more attention. I can't remember the young lad's name, but he got sold to Wales. Was it last year?
Yeah, Seb.
He was like 16. And all the boys that you mentioned coming through, especially.
Goalkeeper went to Nottingham Forest as well.
Well, I can't really remember that happening before.
Yeah. The thing is as well, I think probably in the last 5-6 years, a lot of Scottish players like John McGinn, different players, Kenny McLean, they've went down south and they've done well.
Yeah.
And because the market is so inflated down south in terms of buying players and the wages, Scotland is a good market because there's a lot of talent up here, and they know if they get them early, they can give them even better training down there, because
they can get them for pennies, really, for them, their monetary terms for them. Yeah.
So it's definitely a massive opportunity for players here, but at the same time, as you said, like, you want your son or whoever is at the club to enjoy their life as well as playing football, because if you're not happy off the pitch, you'll never excel on the pitch. You might for a little time, but over the period, it just won't work, in my opinion.
When you went to Australia I think you were at Tayport. You went to Australia. Was that football you were going for, or just for like a year away travelling, or?
It was a year away travelling. It was so basically. Obviously, I was in. I kind of fell out of a love for football, to be fair, because I wasn't maybe getting the opportunity that I felt that I was never going to sort of make it as a footballer. So I was in the junior leagues, and I was at Tayport under John McGlashan, and I was banging goals in, to be fair, for fun. And I just thought, you know what, I'm banging goals in here, and I'm still never getting a sort of for a Montrose or an Arbroath, so I may as well go and see a bit of the world. So
how disheartening was that at the time?
I thought, like, obviously I was doing my apprenticeship as a plumber at the time, and I was enjoying my football, and I just thought, I can maybe go out to. I never actually thought too much of it, to be fair. In terms of disheartening, I loved my football in the junior levels, and I was just taking, I suppose, each game as it came. But yeah, I suppose at some point, I remember my stepdad saying, you need to give up the dream of becoming a footballer and concentrate more on your plumbing, because I was half-arsing that job, because
what that's like, yeah.
Sort of like my old man. I just wanted to be a footballer, and it wasn't coming.
This is what I love about your story, because it's so unique. The only person I know who got signed later than you, before, at an age where it was 21, was Ian Wright. He got signed for Crystal Palace. It was 24 when you got signed there.
I signed for United on. I was 22.
22.
22.
But you were at Arbroath before that, so you'd.
No, so basically, I signed for Dundee. I signed for Arbroath, I think, when I was 22.
Right.
But that was in the summer. I'd just turned 22, and then I signed for Dundee United that January.
Yeah.
So it still wasn't my next birthday. So when I actually played my first game for Dundee United, I was 23. I think that was about right.
See, like
so it is late,
Describing what you're on about for, like, you're getting told that you're going to have to focus on someone else and everything else. It's like the perfect never give up story. You know what I mean? Like, you obviously said you were half-assed after you were focused on someone else, but it's paid off. It's like, that to me is like the epiphany of never give up.
The thing is, so football's a very much a good luck story. You hear a bit of good luck going, but obviously Simon goes
Australia, did you say?
Goes to Australia, comes back, does the job only in a few months for Arbroath, does the business for them, and then United sign him. That just shows you make your own luck.
What I remember about that was, I remember hearing you were banging in the goals for Arbroath. Was it not like maybe you scored 4 in a game and you got a couple of hat tricks or something? Because I remember United were on you quick, eh?
Yeah, I think going back to what you just said there about making your own luck, I think within football it's like anything in life, you could give your full effort, but you also need somebody to believe in you.
Exactly.
You need somebody to give you that chance. And when I was in Australia, I had a great time, I'd always planned on probably coming back, but John McGlashan, who was my manager at our Tayport, he then took the Violet job. It was for the end of the season, they were bottom of the league, and my phone, he got a message to us somehow. He's like, "Look, son, phone me." So I was in where was it, Coogee Bay, just like along from Bondi, and McGlashan's on the phone. He's like, "Look, get back here for 3 months, come with this team." He was one guy that I could never say no to. Do you know, like, everyone that's had him in football will know what he's like. He was just one of a kind, So he was like, "Come back here, and I promise you, if you do the business, I'll get you an opportunity in football." So basically, I thought, right, okay, let's do this. We'll get back. And I signed for the Violet. They were bottom of the league, and I ended up scoring some stupid amount of goals. It was like 16 goals in the last 8 games or something like that, and we ended up staying up. And I went to Arbroath, basically said, "Look," John obviously had the connections with her. He was like, "I've got you a training session next Tuesday. It's in Perth High School. Bobby Lynn, they all go up there, so he'll make you warm. Feel welcome, some boy, Lenny boy, man, what a guy! What a hero, mate! What a hero!" And Bobby, for a season, actually left the senior level Arbroath. He went to Ballingry, and we actually played against each other when I was at Tayport. And he always said, "Simon, how you can go, you can do it at a different level." And again, just never fitted, or somebody never believed in you. Anyway, went up to the Perth High School on a Tuesday night, right? And I kid you not, it was the best training session I've ever had in my life, right? Everything I hit, top bin, I was scoring goals. And Paul Sheeran actually is the assistant. He was the gaffer at the time. He's the assistant at Hearts now. Still to this day, he'll say, "I've never seen a training session like that in my life. Everything you hit, top corner." So he phoned us the next day when I was at my work, right? "Simon, Paul here. I want to sign you for Arbroath for next season." I was like, I never even asked about money. There was no anything like that. I was like, "Right, let's do this." He's like, "Right, I'll meet you at McDonald's at Camperdown, right, in 10, like that day." I was like, "McDonald's?" I thought I was making it to the big time and getting a Happy Meal signing on fee. But
what did that feel like in that moment? Like,
I was buzzing.
Yeah,
that feeling of.
Was that like years and years of build up, and you're like, I was like a feeling of you're getting somewhere. You've done it. Do
you know what the funny thing is? The biggest thing I was looking forward to was seeing my name on Gillette Soccer Saturday, because it was like, "Oh, you'll be on Gillette, Jeff Sterling will get your name it," and it was like Simon Murray, Ken will score. Kind of when you used to watch the Koopmans every Saturday, man. Right. It was like, "Oh, Simon Murray scoring on Gillette." It was my mates all like would take pictures and send it, Ken. But when that phone call came through, it was just like any boys. That was my dream, you know, to play football. Whether it was, and I was happy at that point because I'd came back. I was doing
So that's a quick turnaround then for signing for Arbroath, and then United come a call, and you must have been.
Think about it. If you never came back and stayed in Australia.
Mate, this is the thing. So, and I was away in Australia for about 10 months, and I played football 3 times. It was only a couple of training sessions and a kickabout at the park. But I struggled with Osgood Slatters. It's like a growing thing in the shin. So that's how I kind of another reason why I never played. But when I came back, I met Paul at McDonald's and just signed, and he was like, "Look, you're coming from the juniors. The money's not here for like what the guys are getting paid." And I said, "I'm not here for the money. Like I'm here for the opportunity." And I signed. So it was I signed a 1-year contract basically, and I went on to that season. It was.
Do you remember your first game?
Yeah, actually. So Paul Sheeran ended up leaving because he got a job at Aberdeen under McInnes. Oh. So he'd signed me, and then 3-4 weeks later he ended up leaving. So I'm thinking, I'm just new, kind of like I'm going to need to prove that
to somebody else. To
a manager coming in, who was Alan Moore. He was manager at Clyde and a few different teams. We nut job. Played for Dunfermline actually. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Murray, winger, great guy again. And my first game, we played Aberdeen in a friendly, but they'd had Europe that summer, so they'd start their pre-season I think 3 weeks before us, and we'd only had 1 session. And I started up front, and I thought, this will be a good test to see where I'm at. I got pumped 8-0, right? And I was thinking, I'm miles away from where like that is, you know. But that was a good team as well. Niall McGinn, Johnny Hayes, I think Ryan Jack and everything like that. So, but amazing experience, you know, because that was my first that was a friendly in pre-season, and my first goal for Arbroath was in the derby against Montrose. I rounded the goalie and put it in the top bin. And then from that moment I kind of just took off, to be fair. I scored I think it was 22 goals to January, and then
you must have felt after 2 or 3 goals, you must have felt confident. I'm alright here, I'm okay, I'm going to score here, no problem.
Like you said, I remember hearing you were rattling them in.
Yeah.
At that time, what did you say there? 23 goals before January.
I think it was 22, and up until January, until I signed. The team that we had for that level was good. You know what I mean? We had another striker, Paul McManus. He was at Rafe Rovers, but he kind of took me under the wing. You know, we played a 4-4-2. He was doing the stuff that I wasn't so good at. That he was more flick-ons, linking up the play, and I was just running in behind and scoring and just causing a nuisance. But it was probably one of my favourite seasons because of where I'd came through. I'd came into a first team sort of professional dressing room, and it was just a massive learning.
You showed you could do it.
Yeah, and showed you could do it, But and we played with good players as well, players that had dropped down the levels. Obviously, Lenny was a magician, and then when he was he was on one wing, Dylan Carrero on loan from Dundee. He was Canadian,
I remember.
And on that, they two supplying you couldn't have no score at times, you know. So it was amazing, to be fair. So
you look back at that season fondly then, yeah.
Brilliant, yeah, because again, you were in a professional hingy, your sort of name was out there, and you were scoring goals, you know. So nothing replaces that feeling of scoring a goal, no matter where it is, you know.
And United come a call, and when you sign for them, I mean, every Dundee fan going, "What's that?" and then the word starts coming out, "Oh, he's a Dundee fan." All right, okay. See where this is going, you know. So it was a straight.
What was it like when United came in? Was it's another a bigger feeling?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, at that point, Dundee United were actually top of the league. They were top of the league at that season. Armstrong, GMS, Nadir Shifty. They had their team was really strong for you. They had was it Chesniak in the goals, so internationalists and stuff.
That's when was that when the famous headline was in the paper, "We're going to win the league by so many
points." That wasn't a great thing to put
no,
Telly, was it?
No.
But I think, do you know what? I lost my phone, or I broke it at work, and it must have been running pipes or something under the flare and cracked the screen. But my iPad, I got a message on my iPad for the assistant manager, Todd. He was like, "You idiot, the gaffer's trying to get in touch. You're away to go to Dundee United." And I was like, "Is this
wind up?"
Yeah. So Moody, the manager, ended up phoning us basically and saying, "Jackie McNamara's away to phone your house. Like, you're away, like, congrats, son." Like, I was like, "What? I'm going to Dundee United. I've not even spoke about, like, leaving my job or, like, they've not even offered us wages." He's like, "Don't be fucking daft. You're off. Like, that's you." I was like, "What?" So he ends up phoning the house. He's like, "Look, we had Montrose the next day, actually." He was like, "We're coming to your game tomorrow. Like, you're getting signed. Like, we've agreed the fee from Arbroath and stuff. Just do your thing. Like, don't worry, we'll see you on Sunday." So, like, I was eating my tea in my plumbing gear Friday night, got a phone call, and Sunday I signed, like, for Dundee United. There was nothing. It was just like my agent ended up having to get an agent because fucking plumber didn't need an agent, did he? You know what I mean? But it was just a surreal journey.
That's surreal how you describe it there, man. You're sitting in your plumbing gear eating your tea on the Friday and then you're signed for Dundee United on the Sunday.
So this is where I was at in terms of my profession. Like, I was always a hard worker, right? But I never came through professional ranks. So in terms of back then, I didn't know nothing about nutrition, like what to do, lifting weights, you know. And I used to have this thing where I'd eat Chinese every Friday night, right? Because I was on a roll. So my mate was like, "You need to keep eating the Chineses on a Friday night." So I was actually sitting eating a Chinese on the Friday night before gets this phone call, and I was pacing about my living room.
Sitting on your Chinese or
I was like pacing about thinking, I'm going to sign for Dundee United. Like, this is unbelievable. There was no other thought in my mind. I just wanted to get it done. Obviously, touched on that I was a Dundee fan, but
you're not going to think about that.
There was no second thought. Like, a club like Dundee United, or just to get an opportunity to that level, was just phenomenal. So I ended up signing a 2-year deal, and then I went into this, just another step. Like,
so went for the McDonald's, signing at McDonald's. Did you get into sign in the stadium this time?
I did. I got it was funny actually. There's a cracking photo of me because I never had time to get a haircut. So
I remember when you signed for them.
Somebody put a picture of Jim Spence along beside this because I had the big wig, the ginger wig. But I couldn't get to a barber's in time. But it was just amazing. And then you go up to the stadium and you see the history of the club, and obviously you meet the manager, and you're with your dad, and it's emotional, you know. Like, he sees where he was at one point, and obviously your family's there as well. So I think that's the best bit about it, because as you say, they dedicate so much for you, and they come to games, and you know, even now, like my wife or
must be a proud moment for your old man, because your old man was a decent player.
Yeah,
at a decent level. To see you to go for that, to plumbing, to eating your Chinese meals, to signing for United. I mean, and it was as we've said, it's late in your career, and you've made your own luck. You've done it yourself, and they've saw what you've had. Yeah. So
I think that what makes it like more special, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Because like obviously you've went away to Australia. You've got like the chance at Arbroath, like you says, you've knocked that out of the park, and then you've got this new opportunity. Just like it's happening so quick. Like, do you get time to digest that properly, or is it like mentally you've just got to prepare to play football for the next game?
I think obviously, as when you look at it like that and happening so quick, you think, it would obviously be frantic, and like what would be going through your mind. But I think I was just lucky that I went into a club that, at that time, they'd signed like Andy Robertson, who'd come from Queen's Park, Aidan Connolly, Blair Spittle. So the manager knew that, you're not coming in here to be the star of the show. You're coming in here to develop and learn off the guys that are already in here. So you were made to feel that there was no rush. There was coming into something like there was a plan put in place in terms of like.
It didn't take you long though. I mean, you went from that to being the absolute pest that you were on the park. I mean, from the minute go, you on that park to now, you were a pest, a total pest on that park. And players must hate playing against you. And I remember you playing for United, even in the Dundee Derby, in that game, you were just absolutely not. You were trying to win that game every single. I hated when you played against Dundee. Hated that because you could just see there was something there, and it was hard when you've got that kind of attitude. I think I've obviously never played professional football, but there's certain players have voiced how good you are to play against. Celtic captain or whatever last year. You must be so difficult to play against, and that must have been seen from an early age. And you were a big lad to start with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big, powerful. So it must be hard to play against. But you've done it yourself, you know.
I think obviously, as I touched on, when I had guys like John, so like the pre-season that he had, you had no choice. Like it sort of moulded you into the character that I was, you know, in terms of how I earned my career. You know, I had to do all the hard yards, whereas, you know, some guys maybe get it a bit easier than me, you know, until it's not easy, and then they're like, whoa, like this is kind of like hard work comes first before anything else, you know. But yeah, look, I'm proud of the way that I play, and how I got there. But I think one thing that John did tell us, he was always saying that when you're having a bad day, just make sure the guy that you're playing against isn't having a good day.
Mm-hmm.
So the way to control that is, yeah, you might take bad touches, you might miss chances, but if you're running and working hard or as fast as the other guy, he's going to have a hard day, you know. So
I'm saying you're best, I'm saying you're always in their face. You're always right on them. You're running at them. I wouldn't like to be the government that running at us all the time. But that's the way you've got to be. The closing down and all the rest of it. But do you give it any funny business? Is there any yapping going on? There's not. I've never really noticed that from you.
There's definitely a bit of that, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm a wind-up merchant, to be fair. To be fair, when I was younger, definitely not. You know. As I've got older, and like younger players that are coming through are slightly different. They're not as aggressive as the players that you used to face against, you know. So they're more technical. You know, they're obviously physically strong and stuff like that, but they don't have, maybe a lot of them don't have that nastiness of the players that you used to play against.
It's not like managers don't know what they're getting. I mean, you know yourself. Managers are, if you're on the subs bench, you can see the manager of their team. They're waiting. They're going to change it as soon as you come on. They're going to change it because they know what they're going to get from you. So they're going to change their total everything about it. So they're no fine. What they're going to get, you're going to come on, you're just going to be going at them 100%, and that's probably where it's always come from. But see, like, so what happened to when you were United?
Here come the stats.
No, when you were United, no stats. When,
add a few.
Why did you? What was the reason you ended up going to Arbroath? Was it just remember you went?
So I was at Arbroath, but I signed for Dundee United.
Yeah, but did you not go back on?
Yeah, I was back on loan for the rest of the season, so that was part of the deal. I signed in January.
Right.
So I signed a 2.5 year deal with Dundee United.
Right.
But part of it, the rest of the season, I could train full time with United, but also play at the weekend with Arbroath. So I kind of got to see or build into Dundee United sort of training and stuff like that, but not having the pressure.
As I was saying earlier on, though, the career, because you've got the career, it's a really interesting career. So you with United, but you end up going to, you obviously go to Hibs, and your old man must have loved that. Your old man must have totally loved when you signed for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was I suppose obviously not many people can say that they played, you know, for the same team as their dad, and he's got amazing memories of when he was there, and that's the team that he has a soft spot for, probably more than any.
And Montrose probably.
Yeah, well, Montrose obviously is the one that he played for most, and he's a Hall of Fame there, and still goes up quite regularly. But yeah, Hibs was a special. Like, actually got me for my 30th was my debut strip and his debut Hibs strip in the same frame. So
amazing.
It's great to have, and you know. I think he scored maybe one more goal for Hibs than me, so that's the only fucking. That's the only. You know what I mean?
So you played. You had good start. Well, you had good starts.
George Best actually was at Hibs the season before he was there, and he then went to New York Cosmos. Was it the Cosmos?
No, he went to Los Angeles. He went. I don't think he played. He never played for the Cosmos. But he went.
It was a team in America.
Yeah, he went to Los Angeles.
And my dad, part of the deal that Hibs sold him to this team in America was the pre-season, was in America. So my dad went on the pre-season, played against Georgie Best. He's got the photo, and he ended up scoring in that game. So it's amazing where football can take you. Like, obviously, you're speaking about journeys, and everyone's got different journeys, but like it can take you wherever.
That's special what you said about you the debut strip with you and your dad's in the same frame. That's really
so where did the Hibs signing come from? When did you start hearing about that coming in?
Yeah, so I was at Dundee United, and that tail end of that, like, obviously we got relegated into the Championship. So
before we even think of that, we've got to ask you about the Dundee Derby. How did that feel?
Are we going there?
Yeah.
It's part of his career, so it's hard for. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That night, Simon laid the goal on for United. He lays the goal on to put them 1-0 up, and I'm sitting in the stand going, how many times are you going to get this chance, you know? But you were playing at your skin that night to try and win that game. But as I say, it must have been difficult. Okay, in future it might look great, but at the time it must have been difficult.
I actually was playing good. I think I came off about like 65 or something. I can't remember, but we were 1-0 up at the time, and I came off. So
you set the goal up as well. So why did he take you off?
Played it down.
What was it scored the first one against Gazzola?
Eddie O'Ferry.
Ferry scored for United, and then Gadzolov scored the goal.
Yeah, Whiting's goal was the slowest goal I've ever seen go to the back of the net ever.
I remember, like, it just was from a United point of view, like, it was comical. Kind of went like three or four bodies, but some
did that not go well? To see when they got relegated, did that not go well for you?
That, to be fair, in that sense, like, for me, it was a good thing in terms of I got to play more regularly in the Championship. Obviously, it's probably one of my it's the lowest part of my career, getting a relegation, because I've never faced anything like that before. So, and touch wood, that's the only one. So, it was difficult. Obviously, a young boy being from the city as well, like, it's tough going. So, it definitely takes its toll on you. But
is it like the dressing room? Is it a depressive feeling around the dressing room, or is it like, you know, like a monkey on your shoulder sort of thing that you can't get off? That sort of feeling.
Like, obviously, like, even after, like, any loss is horrendous and that, you know. But I suppose, like, if you're in a relegation battle the whole season, and like, the writing was kind of on the wall that season, it was just nothing was going for.
Right, like, from the Christmas, it started to get sticky, didn't it?
It was tough, and we had players there. Like, we had kind of like the players that we signed on paper, like that. The team they had good players. They shouldn't be down that end of the table, like, but it was tough. But also, from these situations as a young player, I mean, it's not a good thing to say, but you learn so much from, I suppose, failing in a way that, you know, like, what I done was maybe wrong, or, you know. So everything, I suppose, you have to take it from a learning point of view, and just, you know, make sure it doesn't happen again, sort of thing.
Yeah, therefore, like, all different sort of situations in football, is there?
Yeah.
This is what I mean. We were speaking about it with Tottenham. I've been thinking Tottenham are going to get relegated, because I just don't think they've got that fight in them. You know, they've never had to do it before, essentially.
I think this is something that we've actually spoke about, like, this season. We, from the start of the season for Dundee, we've been fighting against all odds, like, in terms of...
Well, everybody was on your back at the start of the season. Everybody was on, like, it was a toxic atmosphere, to be fair, with some people.
It's been tough. Like, this is probably the most difficult season in terms of, you know, obviously we've got a new manager just a week before pre-season, but we lost so many players last year. I think I went through, it was like 16 players, and like, the only players that had scored in the SPL this year was like me and Clark Robertson at the start of the season.
Well, he came in late. I mean, he came in late, and it was I think it was only 1 or 2 weeks before we started playing. So we had sort of definitely the slow start in the cup, and that didn't really help. Going to the league, and it was all to do with timing. It definitely was all to do with timing, because he's slowly, you can see what he's trying to do. Well, you know what he's doing, but slowly see what he's trying to do, and hopefully, as long as they stay up, then next season it's going to be completely different. Yeah, I would think.
We're not quite did, man. I know you can't used to be like, but
we've had a few, the last few weeks, like, the performances haven't been good enough and stuff like that, but we're back at home this Saturday, so just looking forward to putting it right. I say, when you go through obviously the derby defeat, it's like we touched on, like, the emotions after the game is fucking horrendous. You know what I mean? you're down, but they deserved it. They were better, they were better on the day, but I think when we went back into training on Tuesday, you've seen a real determination from the boys. Like, the training's been really good this week, so
we better play on grass.
There's been plenty of times this season. There's been plenty of times
to
this
take my wellies.
That I would say I've been very proud watching Dundee play. Like, there's been loads of games. Which in like previous years you kind of say all the time, you know what I mean? So whether they like believe in the philosophy or not, like, I've definitely seen it, and I'm a definite believer of it. I remember how toxic it was at the start of the year. I can't remember it ever really being that bad.
It changed on the Falkirk game at Christmas time. The St Mirren game that me, you and Declan were at, we played well that game, won 3-1.
Yeah.
Then it was looking
like Rangers, right? See when they drew with Rangers, that was the first one. I seem to remember everybody was like, that was a bit of a shock. And then the Celtic game.
You know, the game, it was really toxic, and I never went to it, but I know exactly what it was. The Motherwell game down there, and we got beat 1-0, and we nearly took a point off them, and that's a good team, Motherwell. And I think there was a lot of stuff happening with the fans and the young ultras and on the buses and stuff. There was a lot of toxic talk, and I'm glad I never went that day. I usually would have went, but I never. Then the following week, it all changes. 1-3 on the bounce, and I just remember it just totally changing. You saw the difference. The Falkirk game, the United game, and what was the other one? 1-3.
Kelly. Yeah, Kelly.
1-3, and it changed. The atmosphere totally changed in the ground, and it's been a lot better since. But it was right up to it, and I think the Motherwell game was the catalyst that went really downhill. And I thought at the time, that wasn't that bad a result, to be fair.
Yeah, we didn't actually. On that day, there was nothing between the two teams, to be fair. And
Dundee have always done all right against, and that good Motherwell team. They've done all right against them every game.
Yeah, well, we beat them.
That was really hard for Finlay Robertson getting the goal at the end of that last game. That was brilliant. That was a brilliant result.
Scored, was it? No, look, I think there's been a lot of hard work done from the start of the season. A lot of things that we've been through as a squad. I'm the oldest in the squad, and there's a couple of boys that maybe early 30s, and then after that, they're all early 20s. We're a young team. So there's been a lot of change in the way that we've been playing from the start of the season, especially to now. Yeah, obviously the last couple of results haven't went our way, and the performances haven't been as well as maybe 6 weeks ago. But with determination's there to put it right on Saturday. So looking forward to that.
You're too right, man.
So we can go back and ask you about the Hibs period.
Sorry, we got
you go and sign for Hibs. That must have been unbelievable. One of these, a team that size.
Yeah, that came about towards the tail end of the season. I was out of contract with Dundee United, and we were in the playoffs. And they were actually the January before the summer ending. They were sort of sniffing about. They were needing a striker, but they were in the same league as us. So obviously, I don't know what went on there, but it was never really going to happen.
Well, Hearts in the league that year as well?
No, it was just Hibs Dundee United. Falkirk were decent as well. We ended up playing them in the playoffs. And then towards the tail end of the season, I was scoring every game. And then Neil Lennon actually done the TV on the Falkirk game where I scored in the home leg, and I scored in the away tie where we won. I can't remember if it was 2-1. I scored the equaliser. Paul Dixon scored the winner. It was pandemonium, to be fair. That was another good night, and just that following week, Neil Lennon kind of said, I loved the way it played, and you've been in good form, and I think you could do really well here. So obviously they were in the Premier League, and had some setup in terms of their training facilities and their stadium and everything like that, and obviously my dad having that sort of soft spot, and he'd played there. It was just, it was great, and a great opportunity for us. So I just sort of jumped at it.
Culminating with an absolutely unbelievable winner against Hearts, which must that's your legendary status with them right away.
Yeah, it was a pretty mad story about that, because I'd been on quite good form from the start of the season, and then I kind of tailed off a bit, and then Stokesy was actually meant to start that game, and on the Friday in training we were doing boxes, just possession boxes, and he was meant to go in the middle. He gave the ball away, and he was refusing to go in the middle, so him and Lenny had a bit of a fucking fight basically, and he told Stokesy to fuck off. So I was in the hotel at night and my phone went. It was the gaffer basically. He was like, "You're starting tomorrow." That was it. I was like, "Oh fuck!" So I wasn't meant to be starting.
Man, if you weren't sitting there.
It was just like, "You're starting tomorrow. You're starting tomorrow, kid," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, gaff!" I was shit scared of him. To be fair, he was a scary bastard. He was brilliant, but yeah. So then I wasn't even meant to be starting that game, and then I come on and then make probably one of the best moments of my footballing career.
And again, you obviously scored the winner against United in the first minute. It was only about 2 or 3 minutes in when you scored that one, was it not?
Yeah.
Against Hearts, so
yeah,
that was an early winner against a derby.
That was 3-0. 3 minutes in and we're 1-0, and same against obviously in the cup.
Yeah.
So it's always good when you're the winner. You score the goal and it's 1-0 or Simon scores the winner or whoever. You're always buzzing about that.
We're saying earlier on it was the only time he ever scored against Dundee was for Hibs. For Hibs.
It's a young team winning the cup, is it?
Yeah, must be.
Yeah, so
I'll pick it up on the mic.
So he scores his only goal for against Dundee for Hibs. And that was the only goal he ever scored against us. And didn't celebrate it. It was great.
Just give it that, did I?
Something like that, yeah.
Did you watch the goal last night?
No, I remember it.
Photograph.
I was trying to work out because I always thought he got in for Queen's Park against us, but he didn't. He just played that well.
It was a good finish actually. It was Stokesy crossed it in outside of the box and it was a volley. So no scored many of them. We'll take it.
How long were you at Hibs for?
I was only there a season in the end. I signed a 2-year deal with them as well, and then I had a half decent season, but and I could have stayed. I just had the opportunity to go abroad, and again it was something that I'd always fancied doing, and I never knew if the opportunity would come again. So I kind of.
Is this South Africa?
Yeah. Went out to a team called Bidvest Fits. It's pretty mental.
What sort of level was that?
I mean, this is a question I get asked a lot because South African football,
but there's big teams in South Africa.
Massive teams. I mean, Kaiser Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, when they play each other, they get 92,000 at the games. They're massive. They're sold out in 5 minutes. To put it this way, the only international player that wasn't in was in their starting 11 was me. I was the only one that wasn't playing for the country. So. In terms of that, the standard was amazing.
What was the culture change like coming from Dundee going to South Africa? What was it madly different?
There's no much difference between the Hilton and fucking Johannesburg, to be fair. Mate, do you know what? It was mental because I'd never been to Africa, any continent, like that. I hadn't been to any country in Africa, so I was just thinking wow, this is a totally different thing. And without being funny, I didn't even know what the airport would look like, or if it was a city, in terms of was there lions floating about somewhere? I just didn't know what to expect. But the culture was they all spoke great English.
Was it near Johannesburg? Was it in
I lived in Joburg. I lived in Joburg.
I've got a family there, and it can be a bit.
Johannesburg's meant to be nuts, is it? It's meant to be wild.
It can be, and I mean, I suppose it is because we've heard a lot of stories people that we knew, but nothing ever happened to us. And I can only say the people that I came across were some of the nicest people that I've ever met. Absolutely loved the people.
Who did you go across with?
Women, now wife. Yeah, she was my girlfriend at the time, to be fair. And then
how did she get on? All right.
She did. My son was born there. We ended up having my boy Nova in Joburg, but at the time when we went across and it was just me and her, it was perfect. The lifestyle was good, and we lived in a nice place, safe community. But when obviously Nova came along, it was a bit more. Yeah, you just had to be a bit more sort of streetwise because you couldn't go out just walking the pram, so the freedom was taken away, I suppose. So it was much better to come back to Scotland because it was a bit dangerous.
Football wise, so were you the only Scot playing in the team?
I was only ginger.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I was the only Scottish guy in the league. And I mean, in terms of the sort of culture, our team was probably the most European out of the lot, but I was the only. It was a Portuguese run club. It was amazing. Like they looked after us so good. The training facilities were great. We trained on Fitz University's pitches, so it was really good. The stadium was decent. We didn't have the biggest fans, but good wee set up. The club looked after you amazing, and we actually done pretty well, to be fair. I think we finished third or second in the first season, but some great players, and it was amazing.
You got a bad injury there, so didn't you?
Yeah, in pre-season in the second season I done my ACL, so it was obviously pretty tough being there and doing sort of rehab away from your family and stuff. So unfortunately it came to an end in that way, but these things happen in football.
Was it after that you went? Did you go to Dundee after that, or did you go? What way did it go? You coming to Dundee?
Yeah, so I was at Hibs and I ended up going in January.
Right.
So it was the January before.
Yeah.
I ended up going to Dundee.
Yeah.
On loan for like 3 months. Just I kind of fell out of favour at Hibs at that point, and they were looking for like yeah, the tunes are belting in here. Somebody's happy. There's one team through there that's not happy, I suppose. But, yeah.
Sorry, did you go to South Africa then you come back to Hibs? Yeah.
No, so I went from Hibs to South Africa, but in the January before that I went to Dundee on loan just to the end of the season. So yeah, I just wasn't getting the game time at Hibs, and at that point we'd already signed another striker from Australia, and they wanted a number 10, so they were looking at Scotty Allen, and McCann was obviously like, well, if you're wanting him, I'm needing a striker. At that point Dundee were desperate for a striker, so there was kind of like a wee 3-way transfer thing going on with Scott Bain going to Celtic, me coming to Dundee, and Scotty Allen going to Hibs. So it was like a 3-way transfer thing. Some pretty mad on the deadline day. So
during that time, Dundee fans really got behind you, and definitely one of the best. Even the second time you come, it's still one of my favourite games. The game at Partick Thistle. The first goal for me, we're getting beat 1-0, and the equaliser for me will look one of the most difficult goals. You're going past the post and you manage to get on it and put it in, and then the next one was a wee bit lucky with the header coming in. But that was, to me, that was one of the best games that you played for us out of the 2 times you've been here. That was a great game. I just remember that as a
that was
great day.
I always find it hard when I've went to teams in January that like the boys all know each other. Like you're going into a dressing room, you're kind of the newbie, so it's hard to settle in. So like at the start when I first arrived, I was struggling to get goals, and I wasn't on form. But that game was obviously one where I sort of kicked in and I played well. I missed a couple of chances before I actually eventually got the late goals, but it was a great feeling, and that was probably one of the games that, because we were obviously fighting sort of relegation as well at that point, so it was a massive win, to sort of put us in a bit of a better position as well. It's funny actually looking back to that sort of period, because you talk about like players coming in from big clubs, and like it was Stephen Cocker obviously came in at that point, and he set up the second goal because he was a man mountain, like he went up for the head, and I just
what a signing he was, by the way, for Dundee getting him. Unbelievable.
He used to play for Liverpool and stuff, didn't he?
For England as well.
Yeah. It was obviously that was like he was in the Premier League playing under Klopp and playing for England, and then 6 months later he was at Dundee. So yeah, pretty mental. Again, another journey in football. Wow. But he says it was one of the most most enjoyable experiences playing for Dundee over his time. I think he'd done a podcast where he said it was the most normal he felt in the dressing room, but Gilzer would do that to anyone. So, you know what I mean? He was like, oh, the fucking centre midfielder couldn't play on the Wednesday night because he's in the house on the tag. But it was good times, to be fair. It was good.
And then, as I was saying before, I thought it was kind of like you were the forgotten man for a wee while, and then you probably make, you'd be able to tell us, probably one of the most significant signings. You signed for Queen's Park, and you did the absolute damage for them, and if you'd been there the whole season, I think Dundee wouldn't have got up that season, or they would have ended up in the playoff. But you did absolute damage for Queen's Park, and again a total pest against Dundee. The game, especially the game we won 3-0 at Dens. How we won that game 3-0. You had a great game, and just with a bit of luck, you would have got your first goals at Dens actually.
Yeah. It was when I had done my ACL. It was COVID time, so when I came back, like I was kind of doing my rehab. I managed to get out of South Africa actually before they sort of shut the gates, or I would have got stuck there. So I was quite lucky. But Ray McKinnon, who was my manager at Dundee United, he was in at Queen's Park, and I had other offers at the time in the SPL. In fact, Dundee was one of them at the time, where I could have went straight to Dundee. I think, was it Championship they were in? Yeah. So one was Dundee, the other one was Motherwell. But in my head, because I was coming off the back of my ACL, I just knew I wouldn't do myself a justice going to Dundee, and I knew that the end goal for me was to get back to Dundee at some point. But I just knew if I went off the back of my ACL that I would come in and I wouldn't be ready. So Queen's Park actually was. Raymond phoned me, and they were in League 2. They were in the bottom league.
Great club to sign for, though. I mean, historically, what a club.
Yeah, amazing. Like obviously they're old, like the oldest club in Scotland, and they'd been bought over by Willie Hockey, he's like a Glaswegian businessman, so he was putting a lot of investment in the facilities and the new stadium and stuff like that. And Ray was like, just come here. You're going to play every week, and you can build up, because if you go to a club like Dundee, Motherwell, you might get in for one game, out for 3. The level will be too much because you're coming off the back of an injury. So I managed to go there and play for 2 seasons on the bounce and play consistently, which probably saved my career, to be fair, because if you go in at a level that's too much for you, then people don't look at it in your injury.
Do you feel those 2 seasons really major because you were a different player?
I would say so.
When you played for Dundee to then, you were turning into a totally different player.
I would say the first season that I went to Queen's Park, I ended up getting another knee injury. So the actual operation I got didn't quite work. So I had to go and get a wee clean up, and it was my meniscus that was bothering us. And within that time, Owen Coyle came in. So he was a striker, like enthusiasm for the game was just like something I'd been used to, like under McGlash, or he was my type of manager, and he basically just said, see, when you get back fit, I'll get you back to the levels, like you'll be my guy, like we'll get you banging in the goals. And he just had this like passion for football and like goal scoring, and every in his training was tailored towards sort of strikers, because he wanted involved in the finishing, like. But
it must have worked, because look at that season with Dundee. I mean, Queen's Park looked like they were going to run away with.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah, I think we were 9 or 10 points clear at one point, and we never actually beat Dundee over that period. Like, they were the only team that we weren't beating. It was just, we played alright against them, as you said, and we got beat 3-0 away at Dens and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I ended up going to county in the January. So
when you go to county, though, it must have been a good move for you, but it was a great move for Dundee supporters, because that was great. I saw you go and thought, what did they do that for? I couldn't believe it when they got rid of you, because, the soldier, or you went away, because it was like, so that's the most stupid move they could have ever done. And it ended up that was for them. But not for you, because, I mean, you go to Ross County and you're absolutely bang, you're on fire.
Linked on with Young Gander really well that season, I really remember.
Yeah, we had a good relationship going on. Like when I was at Queen's Park, like we were obviously flying. I was running out of contract, so I was in the sort of pre-contract. Like as soon as it hits to the 1st of January, you can pretty much sign a contract with any other club. You don't go until your contract's up, but you've got it there, like secured. So I was saying to like Owen Coyle, I was like, Gaffer, like I'll just say I want this wee bit more money, like, and then I'll sign. Like, I loved it at Queen's Park. I was the captain there as well. And
why did they know about your hand off?
I honestly couldn't answer that question. I could not answer it. I don't know if where they were at in terms of building their infrastructure and their stadium and different things, if they were ready to take the leap up to the SPL. I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you.
That's really interesting. You saying, "Oh, I would have stayed for the Exxon." Why? I mean, why was it? I thought you would just no, because you were the key. I think you were definitely the key for them going up that season.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. You would. I mean, I couldn't tell you what the thinking was behind it. Owen Coyle, obviously, he was wanting it done. Like, he was obviously, there was a bit going on behind the scenes because he ended up leaving, you know. But it was a real strange one because I said I was
because even though you said you weren't beating, they didn't beat Dundee. You were scoring goals against everybody else, so that was the problem. That was going to be a problem for Dundee.
Well, we're battering teams. We were.
If you're trying to go for the league, you don't let your main man do it.
Exactly.
That's the worst business.
That's what I said. It was the greatest thing that happened for Dundee that season.
Generally, it was a strange one, but it's at the time I says, look, if I'm not getting what I feel like I deserve, and then Ross County kind of at that point were Roy McGregor, the chairman, he tried to sign us before when I was at Hibs. I went abroad, but he kind of had always been like a sort of admirer of how I played and stuff like that. So he basically phoned us. He says, look, the contract's here, like, we'll give you a 3-year contract. And I was just like, it was a no-brainer, to be fair, just in terms.
Did you have to live up there?
I did. They gave us they supplied like the house, everything like that, but yeah, my family never like moved up there, just with my son and my wife are.
That's the problem with that Dingwall area. It's just that far out.
It's a good bit away,
It's 2 hours and 50 minutes, you know. So it's a long thing, and obviously my son, he was going through some difficulties at the time. Like, obviously he's autistic, but at that point we didn't know what was going on. So my wife needed support from my mum and from my family as well, and we were sort of getting over assessed and into sort of places where he would get support. So there was no chance that I could move them up.
But your son and everyone, you couldn't have had any problems with your family and your son and that being there, because it certainly you were certainly happy the way you were playing. I mean, you were coming out and scoring every week and beating Rangers and.
That must have been a hard experience for you, trying to get like the diagnosis and all that done, and then you're obviously away and they're down here and stuff.
Mate, I'll be honest. It was like, because obviously we'll get on to some Ross County stuff, but when I was I forced my move away from Ross County because, like, how difficult it actually was looking after my child, like Nova, and seeing my wife struggling so much, because obviously looking after a child with additional needs is very challenging. So I basically said to Roy, I was like, Roy, I love the club here, like, but I need to get back to home. So if I don't and you won't let us go, I'll just hang up the boots, like, because, you know, obviously we managed to find that, you know, I got away and I managed to do that well, that I managed to get down home, which was obviously a relief. But at one point, like, I never thought I was going to get away from Ross County, because I obviously was their talisman and scored so many goals the following season that, like, why would Ross County want somebody that scored 25 goals for them that season to leave? Because, like, where are they going to get that from?
So at the end of that season, I mean, there was quite a few teams in for you, and by that time, Dundee fans, when we thought there was a chance you were going to come, everybody was totally, let's hope he comes down here, you know, because you were a totally different player, and you come down and you say you've instigated it and you've got back to the club. Every single move you've done, you've made your luck and you've done well in every move. And then last season you've come in and look what you've done, all the goals you scored last season as well. So you've done well every time you've moved, and especially for us. Great move for Dundee as well.
I think
great move for yourself.
When I was doing that, travelling so much, I must have visualised going, I need to get home, like, I need to get to Dundee, I just need to keep doing well, I need to get doing.
Do you believe in the law of attraction? Definitely, like visualising that sort of stuff?
I'm big on that, like, definitely. I think it's massively important, whether you could prove it, you know, if you think negatively, you know, nothing positive will ever happen. So I'm always a great believer in, like, sort of manifestation.
Well, a lot of your story has been you've visualised that and it's came true, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you're going to visualise somewhere that's in a car for 3 hours every day, you know what I mean? So,
tunes on, that helps to do.
But, like, look, in the end, Roy was amazing, like, and I'd spoke to other clubs, like, I
I had clubs around.
Hibs were after you again, weren't they?
Yeah, so it was Hibs and Dundee basically. So Hibs offered us a deal, agreed a fee, and so did Dundee. But I thought it was like sort of written sort of for me to come back to Dundee. It was always that. And Roy actually said, like Simon, like Hibs is a great club, Dundee's a great club, but that's your family. Do you know what I mean? Your family's there, and like now I live a minute away from the training ground. I take my son every day to school. If there's a problem at school, my wife doesn't need to deal with it. Like I can go, she deals with it as well. But the two of us are managing.
It's just a lot more comfy for you.
And it's just, you know what I mean.
You're settled.
Yeah, settled. Like I love it here. I love the club. Yeah. So and like obviously my ambition is to go and do something with a club that we could all look back on and be proud of. So hopefully.
What was it like feeling signing for the club the second time and actually like this is you're not coming in halfway through the season? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was definitely better because it was rushed the time before, and obviously it was still an honour and stuff like that. But this time, like the family was there, like my wife and
you feel it was done more properly.
Yeah, it was done properly.
Usual thing though with the Dundee supporters, I remember doubters. I remember again, what's he coming back for? Again, it was all that, never on like, what's he going to do this? It didn't take long for you to change that attitude. You started banning
I remember he came back, like a lot of people were thinking his goals would add in with because was this Tony Dock era?
Yeah.
So it was McCowan, Tiffany, we had Mulligan as well, did we? And Cameron, and then boom.
Yeah.
Because the first game I went to see it when you came back was when we played Hearts, and I think we walloped them, like, was it 4-1 or something?
3-0. 3-0 we played.
I just remember sitting there like that, man. So this is going to be a great season.
Yeah, we were on fire to be fair. That game was good. Do you know what it's like? We had a good team, and again I went on to have a good season. But the doubter thing, you get that. No,
of course you do. You get
every player in the world gets
because they're thinking about they're actually thinking about what you were thinking about what you were like the first time, and as you said, it was rushed and it was January window. But I'm saying there's always the doubters, but everybody by that time, everybody knew what you were doing at Ross County, and it was always going to work because every time it didn't matter where you went, you scored goals, and then within a few games it was working right out, and then it culminates with Paradise and the celebration, which I'll never forget as the best celebration ever.
That was like for the past. I described that. You've seen it on that video of me mentioning that and stuff. But that day was just the best ever because it feels like we've been waiting for that for 20 years, and it just we've seen you bolting up the line. Like it was genuinely the best thing I've seen for years. Like everybody, the day that after that, the buzz about like the whole town, about the town, it was different. Because like last Sunday, I'll tell you now, everybody was in their bed for 9:30. Like it was a totally different experience. I'm on about United fans as well because there was just no atmosphere after they won. But that day, it was. You know what? We'll be talking about it for years. Like I just remember like seeing boys and how much it meant to everybody that
What
day.
annoyed me that day was if it hadn't been VAR, would have been would have scored 5 at half time.
Would have, yeah.
Yeah, right enough. Was it 2 that got disallowed before half
I
time?
think what that disallowed last. That's 3 in a year. That's 3 in a year we've had disallowed there.
I think on the day, like, I just knew when I woke up, when I went to the stadium and I seen the boys, like, I think there was just that feeling that we
No, you said you visualised this. This is another time that you visualised someone. Who did you mention you were going to do that to?
So that the sort of Adebayor celebration was, like, the physios had been going in, like, every day, just being like, I'm going to do the Adebayor, I'm going to score late on, do this celebration, like, the whole length of the pitch. So it looks like, obviously...
It was just off the cuff, but I'd been thinking about it all week. I'd been thinking, I'm definitely going to do that. And then they were just like, fuck, that'll be mental if you do.
He's made a badge about it. Did you give him one?
Yeah, he's
I've got
badges.
I've got them. So they're amazing. And like, obviously it was, look, I think coming back to Dundee, being the captain, like scoring goals, like, you play the pantomime villain at times, you know what I mean? The United fans...
Well, yeah, like, I was there on Sunday. Like, I see when you were warming up at the sideline. I was seeing like the abuse you were getting. You know what I mean? Like anytime you came up close, they were singing.
And the next player comes back and he's haunted them a few times now. So, and he haunted us when he played against us for them. So you're always going to be
one thing about the Dundee United derby. Like I'm getting pelters from people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no hatred. Like, yeah, there's the 90-minute like
except
rivalry.
Except for the dafty that decided to throw the vape at you.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a wee gift made, was there? It was like ginger tears or something. I can't remember what. But yeah, like obviously, like I done an interview after it. Like the police got in touch as well. Like, do you want? It's like that's not a Dundee United fan. That's just some like idiot. You know what I mean? Like, and the same with Dundee fans. Like we'll have people that do stuff. It doesn't make the derby. You know what I mean? We all know what the derby's like. We'll go to the same pubs together. Like we hate each other for 90 minutes, and then after that, yeah, you're back to be mates again.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it here. It's unique to like the world, I suppose. No one really understands how it goes on here.
The best bit, like obviously as a player, like when you walk from stadium to stadium, that'll never be replaced.
Remember, he couldn't believe that when he was like, you're getting a bus down. No, and it was United fans who got and getting his autograph. So yeah, kind of.
What about when you've got to do the walk when it's raining?
Well, yeah. To be fair, in recent times actually, the derby's been good weather, has it? The sun's been shining, so I've not actually been in one where it's been pissing down, which is unlike Dundee, is it?
Yeah. Surrey City, Scotland.
That moment to me, I'll always stick in my memory with you. And the other is when the announcer FIFA avatar with the different coloured beard.
I think I've got a black goatee of it. Yeah, bright ginger hair and a black goatee. Yeah. But yeah, it's too funny. Some of them, they must not put much effort in it. The Scottish.
Remember you were all sitting looking at them, and everybody's looked, and then yours appeared, and it was Portales. He was doubled up on the table, was he?
Vamos.
Yeah. What was your take on the feeling about the place when Presley was appointed?
I mean, like, to be fair, like we had obviously went to summer without having a manager, you know, like, so it was a lot of speculation who's getting the job, and you're the same as a player, you're the same as the fans. Sorry, you don't know anything. He's probably the first time you find out about the manager is when it's been announced by the club. You don't get a sort of message maybe 2 minutes before in the group chat like, well, so and so's taken over sort of thing, but.
You'll be a good coach to work for.
The thing is, I didn't know anything about him, good or bad, so I just take every coach, manager as they come, you know. He actually messaged me, he was on his holiday, and when he got the job, he just got in touch. He says, look, do you fancy meeting up in Dundee for a coffee, and we'll just have a chat. So I went and met him. Like, obviously, we'd lost a lot of players, and I was one of the sort of senior players, so we just went and had a chat for like 2 hours, just like this. And honestly, I left it. I was like buzzing, like great guy.
I said to you before, I spoke to him down the ferry, and spoke to him for about half an hour or whatever it was. Couldn't get a whiff. He was just a really genuine, nice person, you know.
Yeah, and on the game, brilliant. Like really enjoyed. Like I probably in this year's probably the most I've learnt from any coach or manager.
Come on, that's been said by a few players I know. Like a few people have said that from him. Like I don't know what he does different, obviously, usual. But
I mean, I've been lucky to work under like Malky, Neil Lennon, like Owen Coyle, like loads of different, and they've got their different approach on how football teams operate. We've got quite a big backroom staff, you know, at Dundee, so like we do a lot of individualised stuff as well. So if you're a striker, you're working on striker stuff, defenders, it's similar, and you might say, well, isn't that obvious? But normal teams that I've been at, is more of a collective training, so there is an element of that sort of development as well for our younger players, which for me, seeing this for the first time really, it's been great for me. I've been loving it. So yeah, and like look, he was at Brentford for
and they're doing all right,
3-4 years, like,
and they're doing okay.
He's educated, like he's done a lot in the game, and his career was amazing as well. So, like, yeah, it's just another guy that obviously been fortunate enough to work under, and yeah. I
always love how honest he is about everything. Like, even when he comes out with his...
Sometimes going to be a bit too honest.
But they wouldn't like it at the start or whatever else, but like he holds his hand up, and you'll never blame anybody individually, and you'll always like blame yourself first and foremost.
You know what I mean? Blame for Sunday.
Yeah. I've always got to admire how honest he is.
I think he actually touched on this after the United game. Obviously, it's massively disappointing. We're all like, we know it wasn't good enough, and he says like, you own when you put on a performance like that, you own it. Like, there's no point of like, you just have to be honest, and that's the best way to learn. Like, that's one thing he is honest. If you're not playing, he'll tell you the reasons why. If he's not happy with your how you've been playing or what you need to do to get back in the team, he tells you. And as a player, that's, I think, the best thing, because like, I've had managers or coaches, they'll just tell you the same old stuff. I went for him for this reason. Like, you need to get better. You need to know why you, or what you need to do to get back in the team. And
the honesty.
The honesty. And as a player, that's what you want. And he's, by the way, he's not. He's very open to hearing what you've got to say as well. So it's not just his way or the highway. Like, there's a real good relationship between the player and him. So yeah, it's great.
So other than the football, you've been honest yourself about your son, and you're doing things now for the autism and all that kind of thing. How's your son getting on?
Yeah, it's been some journey. Like, to be fair, he was 7 in March, so he's at primary school now. So he's in his second primary 2. He's in an ESA, which is like an enhanced support sort of unit. He was sort of non-verbal when he went to school, so he's come on so much and stuff like that. But I just think, me being here, being around him, like, he obviously likes his routine, his familiar faces, like obviously having me here and not what.
But you've done good things. You've opened up and you've went in the press and everything.
Was it a support group that seen you started?
Yeah, I've done like a support group for sort of dads or male carers. Like, you could be a granddad, dad. You could adopt like whatever. If you've got somebody with autism or additional support needs, it's a sort of group for. We just get together, like. They play 5-a-sides. There was like 25 guys at the last one. It was brilliant, to be fair. So yeah, it's with the Dundee Community Trust. So it's just something I feel passionate about. That, you know, like, I know in myself what the struggles that I go through or that I've been through, or what my son does. That when I go out with my mates that I grew up with, like, I'm not talking about that to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, one, I don't want to go out and talk about it, because I just want to, you know, like, have a laugh with them. And you just be your mates when you're with your mates, don't you? You maybe don't open up or stuff like that. But when you're in the group with people that are going through the same things, and you relate to them, you know, it's a
good way to start a support network, is it? For like people who are going through the same sort of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's a great idea, to be fair.
And you're on bringing the football into it as well. In my son's team, there's one of his friends, and he was just diagnosed with autism a couple of years ago, and he could be a bit aggressive and stuff, but see, the football, when he's on the park, he's a different character, and it's so good for him. And it's just being in a team, and he just opens up, and he's a wee tenacious wee fighter, and you're like, good. And that, when I saw you getting involved in that, I thought, you know what,
I remember watching
this
programme on autism years ago, and this always amazed me. It was this guy, they couldn't find a job. It was like trying to get like future jobs and whatever, and this guy was like a computer like whiz kid. He loved it. He went into this, I think it was a banking company, and he was doing the computers. He was only like work experience, and within half an hour of being in that company, he was able to tell the head of the tech department that they had a glitch in the system and why that glitch was happening. And it was just like, it was crazy to see, you know what I mean? So I'm not too educated in autism at all, but I have I've tried to see like the amazing stories that go alongside with that.
Yeah.
And like, I know it does get classed like a disability, but you see like the art side of it especially as well, you know, how focused they get and the determination, and like the things they create is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, this is where like you get a sort of label as being autistic, or, you know, there's so many different.
There's loads of labels now for that don't mean anything.
Yeah,
this don't mean anything.
I think the big thing is, when you've met one autistic person, you've only met one, because every single person is different. So you'll never see one autistic person that's the same. And like there's a lot of different like levels in terms of, like, you know, there might be an autistic person that can never talk, and, you know, they can't live by themselves. But I mean, if you look at Tom Stoltman, he's autistic and he's the strongest man in the world. So you're talking, it can be a superpower, but also there are kids out there that their symptoms and the stuff that they go through are really difficult on day-to-day life, you know, and with autism there's a lot of anxiety attached to that and different mental health issues as well, so not everyone's got it.
But it affects you, but the thing is, though, it affects you as well, you know, it affects you as and your family, you know.
Yeah, no,
good,
definitely.
and it's good you've opened up, you know, you've actually opened up, and it's admired, you know.
I bet it'll help a lot of people.
I think, well, we've got like 50 guys in the group chat, and 25 came along to the last one, and there was a guy came down from Aberdeen, one guy came up from Edinburgh.
Really?
So hopefully other clubs start taking this on board, because it's something that's like desperately needed. So it's funny actually, because one of the guys was saying, oh, like, I look at you like Dundee captain, like, oh, like this guy on the pitch, like, oh, this, like him coming out and speaking, and I'm thinking in my head, like, sometimes it looks like that when you're on the pitch, but off the pitch you struggle just like anyone else, you know.
Of course you do.
So yeah, I suppose opening up and sees, I suppose, showing that vulnerability to other people as well.
Yeah, but
helps them.
You're high profile character, and you've got this in your family, and it's absolutely no. It's just a label.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just ADHD. All this, it's just a label. And they're just normal people.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I think it's the more the situations, the difficulty of the situations that like the families, like you said there, like people perceive him as a type of person on the pitch. You don't know what's going off off the pitch, sort of thing. I think that support network for people would be a brilliant thing, and to think that like it's not in place with other clubs. You know what I mean? It's something that you've kick-started as well. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I'm hoping it could reach out. I think there's been a couple of clubs reached out to the Dundee Community Trust to say, oh, what are you guys doing? How are you doing it? And I mean, if it takes one sort of Hibs fan that's got an autistic child or whatever else to start that up and help 50 guys through there, and before you know it, there's 10 clubs helping 50, 60 guys.
Well, that's thousands of people, is it?
So that's where we need to do, raise awareness, and you know, and it's also when these kids are going around the community, or autistic people going around, that you're aware of sometimes that they're not bad behaved or they're doing things on purpose, you know. So it just raises awareness. Just so it's important. So yeah, I'm proud of that as well.
Yeah, that's what you should be, man. I think that's a brilliant thing to be doing. To be honest with you, especially like stepping out of football. You know what I mean, and doing something else. Which will lead us to like one of my last questions: is do you ever think you'll go to coaching?
Well, funny, I've just signed up actually for my coaching badges today. So, I start them in the summer. So hopefully I'll get through the B licence and then just see where it takes us, you know. It's something that I think I'll go like either coaching or helping, like mentoring maybe
still want to
players.
work in football.
Definitely, I can't see myself leaving.
Just going from the whole story from today, like it feels like your career is going to be carried on in football. Yeah,
I've lost my spanners, so I can't go back to it. But no, I just feel like football's in this now.
And historically, Dundee strikers that get their coaching badges end up the managers. So maybe 15, 20 years time.
Before I ask him his last question, you want to help me with some of the stats that you wrote down?
No, because the stats I've wrote down are only the league.
What stats have you wrote down? Let's see if they're right. What Simon says.
I said he's from 2024 to now, right? So that's what it's 65 games since 2024 now and 23 goals. But fully, it's not. He's played over 90 games for Dundee, cup games and all the rest of it. So I ain't looking at Wikipedia ever again.
I've played. I think we said 95. Games for Dundee and something like, was it 30 odd goals? Yeah. So yeah, hopefully I had a few on Saturday.
What was your favourite Dundee goal?
My favourite Dundee goal, like obviously the moment that we spoke about is amazing. Like that'll never be beaten in the derby, and your fans going mental. Probably in terms of the goal,
one against Rangers.
Yeah, I like that. That was a good one. Yeah. That was up for goal of the season last year as well. Finlay put that in. Yeah, and went in top. The corner.
Header in the cup against United was an unbelievable header.
Yeah, that was
in the corner.
Wee glance. Yeah. That was good as well. But probably the Rangers one, to be fair, that was probably one of my favourite ones. So, a lot of good. I got a lot of good memories and goals. So, it'd be nice to add a few.
What is your favourite goal of all your career or all the teams you played for?
Yeah. Probably, I would probably say the Hearts one.
Yeah.
To be fair, because I nutmegged the defender and it just I popped it in the top bin. So none of my shots normally go in the top bit. I normally squiggle across the line. But yeah, that was a good one. And obviously the occasion as well, being the winner, scoring an open play in the first couple of minutes, and yeah, it was class, to be fair. It was class.
Was that Easter Road, that goal? Yeah.
Easter Road, yeah. I remember they'd done a big banner saying like natural order. So I've got a class picture in the background walking it. So it was it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, great.
My last question, bud, is because I generally wonder this. Like, I was a fan of your old song, you know, like girls don't like boys, girls like Simon Murray. I thought that was genius at the time, but it's been changed on the terraces now to Simon Murray, the best in Scotland. Which song do you prefer?
I prefer the second one. The first one, I'm not sure my wife's too happy about the first one, but I like the second one. It's yeah, do you know what? It's been great actually. I've had amazing backing from Dundee fans since I came back, and obviously at the start of this year I got like an injury as well, which is kind of stumped that. Like, it's been a hard start to the season. I was playing through injuries and stuff.
You know what I love for? Every time you come on the pitch, it was the same on Sunday as well when you came on. Hamilton gave you the captain's band. As soon as you go on the pitch, everybody knows who the captain is. You know what I mean? Like, you know the presence that you bring and how important you are to that team.
Well, as soon as the second goal went in for United, he was standing at
He's
the centre circle,
the one standing at the centre telling them get going. Like, this is what I mean. It's a presence, like, and the fans are aware of that. Just, I liked your first song better. I thought, in the away days, that was brilliant coming back.
It was good, to be fair, as well.
Good Charlotte, that's what it was called, was it? Good Charlotte.
Yeah.
Nah, look, obviously it's I'm one of the, like, as I said, we've got a young team, you know, so and tough when you go to Tannadice and you find yourself in these situations, you know, it's difficult. So yeah, you just have to try and,
you know what, even forget it, like the weekend. The derby just before that, the two goals, I've never seen about it. I didn't even mention that because, yeah, they've seen you running over the pitch and everything, and then there was McCracken right in front of the ball, Shankly. We kind of had it coming a bit. But that's what, one derby loss out of the last, 6, I think it is.
Yeah.
Derby on Sunday will be
from years ago.
Yeah, that's
from like the days of old, man. That's a record that I'm quite happy with, to be fair.
Yeah, since I've been back at the club, like, the derbies have been pretty favourable, to be fair, you know, so... obviously we've done the one at Tannadice, the 4-2 was like we battered them. Like, the only disappointing thing about that game was we never got 6, you know, and never gave them more, and they probably admitted that as well. They were like, we were lucky not to get an even bigger doing, but and it was obviously the first time I think in like 22 or 23 years.
20, I think it was 23 years, yeah.
But the thing was with that start got really annoying because we only played 14 times but 7 of them were draws.
So, but it's one day that they were holding on to, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But no, it was great, and like, obviously we're bitterly disappointed after the weekend. But
next 2 games are massive, but Saturday, if we got a positive result in that, I think it's pretty much, we're not needing too much more to.
Yeah, I think if we win, obviously we're at home, and actually over the piece our home form's been good, so just need to go in it, be
stop
confident.
drawing 2-2 we Livy the week after.
Yeah. Don't do that again. Fucking hell. Don't want to see another fucking 2-2 we Livy, that's for sure.
I want to know somebody that won $2,000 off one of those games betting that. I'll not mention any names, but you know who you are. Simon, I just want to say thanks for coming in.
Nah, no worries.
It's been brilliant to ask you these questions. And is there anything else we'd ask him before we shut off?
No, I think he's...
Well, what's your favourite strip out of all the ones that were here?
We touched off that a bit off.
The card from warehouse.
Can you do a match worn?
Match worn, you know.
You got a match worn one?
That's match worn. So the Calbarello one's the only one that's not match worn.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, yeah. What was it? It was at 2001.
2001, yeah.
Phenomenal.
I mind I'm needing a Simon Murray one.
Perfect, I'll swap you for that, can you?
Well, again, mate, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Fantastic. That was brilliant.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Loved it.
This has been the Dundee Show podcast, interviewing Simon Murray. We hope you enjoy your weekend.